Good day everyone. For today, we'll be talking about another lesson. But before that, let us have first a review of what we discussed last session, which is all about linguistics. I prepared here statements and questions for you to answer. And of course, I'm Felix Morillo, your discussant for this session. Follow and let's answer them. The first statement is, it refers to the study of language. Okay, you're correct. It's linguistics. Second question is, what are the components of language? Yes, you're right. The components of language are phonology, morphology, syntax, semantics, and pragmatics. This session, we will be talking about one of the components of language, which is morphology. So for today, we will learn about the meaning of morphology, the lexemes and morphemes, the types of morphemes, free morphemes and bound morphemes, the types of bound morphemes which are derivational morphemes and inflectional morphemes, and we'll be dealing also about affixes which are prefix, infix, and suffix. The morphological tree, I will be showing also the morphological tree later in our discussions. The abbreviations, acronyms, compound words, complex words, clippings, and blended words in other word formations. So let's start the discussion. So in linguistics, a morph is a word segment that represents one morpheme as the smallest units of language that has a meaning in sound or writing. It is a written or pronounced portion of words such as an affix, a prefix, or suffix. Also, in morphology, it is a study of words or the smallest unit of words, how they're formed, and their relationship to other words in the same language. It also analyzes the structure of words and parts of words such as stems, root words, prefixes, and suffixes. And of course, in morphology, it also looks at the parts of speech. So what are the parts of speech? As what we have known, the parts of speech are, we have the nouns, pronouns, verbs, adverbs, adjectives, conjunctions, prepositions, and interjections. Morphology also discusses about intonation and stress and the ways context can change the words, pronunciation, and meaning. The smallest unit of a word, which is called a morpheme, can be words or word on their own and or can often be combined with other morphemes to make words. For example, we have here the word book. The word book has only one morpheme. We have here the word books. And the word books has two morphemes. We have here book as a noun, added with an inflectional morpheme S, which is a plural marker. We all have a mental dictionary of all the words we know, which includes the following information. So the first is pronunciation, meaning, orthography, or the spelling, and the grammatical category, or the word class. As what I have said, we have two types of morphemes. So these are the free morphemes and bound morphemes. Let us have first a free morpheme. So free morphemes can stand alone. So these are the root words or what we call the base words. Just like, for example, the words sad, loud, break, book, color, beauty, break, lead, gentle, father, license, picture, and gem. Love is a single morpheme that can be uttered with no other morphemes connected to it. While bound morphemes cannot stand alone and must be attached to other morphemes, we have here an example of bound morphemes, an, and a suffix ish or ish. These are bound morphemes because they cannot stand alone. And these are the examples of bound morphemes. A suffix s, as in cats, a suffix ed, as in crumble, a prefix an, as in unhappy, a prefix mis, as in misfortune, and a suffix or er, as in teacher. And we have here the illustration showing the difference between free morphemes and bound morphemes. So again, free morphemes can stand alone as separate words. For example, we have here single morphemes. We have hunt, kill, the, play, child, and book. And again, we have bound morphemes. So bound morphemes cannot occur on their own as separate words. For example, we have here the affixes S in dogs, ness in happiness, ed or d in walked. Now, if we talked about free morphemes, we're talking about the function or the functional words and the content words or the lexical words. So what are function words? So these are the words that convey grammatical meaning, such as articles, prepositions, and conjunctions. And these words also called as the closed class words. And now let's proceed to content words, or what we call the lexical words. So what are these content words? So as what I had told you just a while ago, that morphemes could be with the parts of speech. So these content words or lexical words are the words that convey conceptual meaning. Let's say nouns, verbs, adjectives, and these words are also called as the open class words. So in phonetics, intonation refers to a word's melodic pattern. It can convey a variety of emotive meanings such as surprise, rage, or happiness, as well as perform grammatical duties. Variations in the voice pitch are the main factor in intonation. It frequently works in tandem with rhythm and stress in languages like English to produce meaning. And tone is another name for pitch modulation. The concept refers to using pitch to distinguish between distinct words and grammatical categories. As we mentioned phonetics is the study of spoken sounds, including how they are produced physiologically and acoustically. It focuses on the vocal tract configurations that produce speech sounds, or what we call an articulatory phonetics. The acoustic characteristic was spoken sounds, or what we called acoustic phonetics, and a method of combining sounds to create syllables, words, and sentences, or what we called as linguistic phonetics. If we talked about stress, we're dealing with this word stress. Word stress refers to the emphasis we give when pronouncing a word to a particular syllable. Each syllable in an English word that has more than one syllable can be stressed or unstressed because we typically don't pronounce each syllable with the same weight. Stressed syllables are longer or uttered with higher or lower pitch than others, which causes the air to be expelled from our lungs with more force. Unstressed syllables are those are not pronounced with the same intensity as the others. They're typically not pronounced as clearly. Again, studying words and their constituent elements is known as morphology. Morphemes are regarded as the smallest significant units of meaning, along with the bound morphemes, prefixes, and suffixes, and the base words or the root words. Morphemes are crucial for phonics in vocabulary and comprehension, as well as in reading and spelling. In linguistics, the internal structure of words is studied in morphology. The degree to which words can be broken down into component parts or morphemes varies greatly between languages. There are many examples in English, such as the word replacement, which is made of the elements or bound morphemes re, with the root word or base word place, and the suffix ment. And we have the word walk, which is made up of the element base word or the root word walk, and added with the inflectional morpheme ed or ed that will make the word past tense. The grammatical functions of inflection and derivation are included in morphology, which we'll be tackling more later. The final S in sings indicates the third person singular, whereas the German word manis consists of the stem man plus the genitive singular inflection es. Inflections also indicate categories such as a person, tense, and case. The derivation is the creation of new words from pre-existing ones. Examples include the creation of singers from singer and the word acceptable from accept. Reading and spelling instruction for students with specific language learning disabilities must be methodical. Decoding and encoding deficits can be fixed with phonics-based interventions, which have been proven to be successful. While phonics teaching may help a student pronounce and spell words on their own, the ability to decipher meaning depends on contextual vocabulary knowledge and the ability to analyze idiomatic, literal, and metaphorical language. And a remedial program for students with language deficiencies should incorporate both of these elements, since a broad vocabulary is a vital prerequisite for accurate communication and text interpretation. Recognition of patterns in syllable types, sound and letter sequences constrained by spelling rules, and spatial constraints is a key component in teaching phonics. Contrarily, morphology necessitates a detection of patterns in stable. Semantically significant word segments. Pupils gain the ability to decipher words, identify the meaning of origin, and assess how prefixes and suffixes alter to modify that meaning. The lesson covers word usage in idioms, collocations, and both literal and metaphorical language. Examples of word usage are offered in phrases, sentences, and chapters. Speaking of bound morphemes, it has a type which is derivational morphemes, and derivational morphemes which includes the affixes such as prefixes, suffixes, infix, and circumfixes. And later, I will be showing you the 8 inflectional morphemes in English. Let's start with prefixes. So prefixes are bound morphemes that attach to the beginning of a root word or a base word. Let's say, for instance, we have the word here. We have the prefix here, an, as into anti. Suffixes are bound morphemes that attach to the end of the root word or the base word. For example, the suffix ness, as in kindness. An infix is a word or word part called a morpheme added to the middle of a word stem to alter the meaning. For example, we have here the words absobladiluli, idjofrekincated, halibladilluya, and a whole nother. In morphology, circumfix is the combination of a prefix and a suffix that attach to a base word simultaneously to express a single meaning or category. For example, we have the word unchangeable. The prefix is un, we have the root word change or the base word change, and we have the suffix able. And again, prefixes are added to the beginning of another morpheme, suffixes are added to the end, infixes are inserted into other morphemes, and circumfixes are attached to another morpheme at the beginning and end. Next is what we call the root, or the root word or the base word. This is a morpheme base upon which other morphemes are attached to create complex words. For example, unlovable. We have the prefix un, we have the base word love, and we have the suffix able. The root word here is love. Next are what we call stems. Once an affix has been attached to a root, the result is called a stem, to which more morphemes may be attached. For example, again, we have the word unlovable, we have the affixes un and able, and the root word again is love. We also have the so-called roots or bound roots that cannot stand alone and can only occur in combination with other morphemes. For example, we have these morphemes sieve attached with re to make it receive. Another is conceive, perceive, deceive. Morpheme gainly for ungainly. cern for discern, plus for nonplussed. We also have the word huckleberry, lukewarm, and cranberry. And now we will be tackling about lexical or the content words and the function or the functional or grammatical words. And of course, later I will be showing you an illustration to differentiate lexical and the grammatical or the functional words or morphemes. To start with, lexical words are called open class words and include nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs, as what we have mentioned a while ago. New words can regularly be added to this group. And we have function words or functional words or grammatical words. They're called also as closed class words, and they include conjunctions, prepositions, articles, and pronouns. And new words cannot be or are very rarely added to this class. And I have here the illustration to differentiate lexical morphemes and functional or grammatical morphemes. Again, if we say lexical morphemes, they are also called as content words, which carry the content of the message. It includes nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, and for example, the words are children, love, beauty, play, and sing. And they're also called as open class words. And we have here functional morphemes. They're called as function words. And it includes pronouns, articles, conjunctions, and prepositions. And for example, we have the word as, the, on, from, and, in, and etc. And they're called also as closed class words. And now let's talk about the types of bound morphemes, which are derivational morphemes and the inflectional morphemes. If we talked about derivational morphemes, this includes affixes, which are added to morphemes to form new words that may or may not be the same parts of speech. While the inflectional morphemes, there has affixes which are added to the end of an existing word for purely grammatical reasons. And for this, I have here an illustration for you to show the inflectional morphemes, or what are those inflectional morphemes. And now I have here the illustration to show you the 8 inflectional morphemes in English. So basically, they're all suffixes, and of course, inflectional morphemes is a type of a bound morpheme. Okay, let's start with the S, which shows the third person singular present. So for example, she waits. Next is the suffix ed, which shows the past tense of a verb. For example, he walked. Next is the ing, which is progressive. For example, she's watching. Next, we have the en that indicates past participle tense of a verb. For example, she has eaten. Next, we have another s that shows plurality of a noun. For example, 3 tables. Next, we have the s with an apostrophe that shows possessive or possession. For example, Holly's cat. And of course, we have the er as an adjective or comparative adjective. For example, you are taller. And of course, we have the est, which is a superlative adjective. For example, you are the tallest. And I have here the illustration just to show you the difference again between derivational and inflectional morphemes. Again, derivational morphemes make new words in the language, different grammatical category from the stem. For example, we have the suffix ness in the word happiness. While inflectional morphemes, which indicate aspects of grammatical function of a word, for example, we have here the suffix ed or ed in the word walk, which indicates past tense. And here are the examples of derivational morphemes. First, we have the derivational morpheme IC, and attach it with noun alcohol, and it creates the word alcoholic. That is an adjective. Second, we have the derivational morpheme ans, attach it with the word clear, which is a verb, and it creates a word clearance as a noun. We have the derivational morpheme ly or li, attach it with the word exact, that is an adjective, and it creates the word exactly, which is an adverb. Next, we have the ity, attach it with the word active, that is an adjective, and it creates the word activity, which is a noun. Next, we have the derivational morpheme able, attach it with the base word read, which is a verb, and it creates the word readable, which is an adjective. Next, we have the derivational morpheme ship, attach it with the base word friend, which is a noun, and it creates a word friendship, which is also a noun. Next, we have the derivational morpheme re or re, attach it with the base word cover, which is a verb, and it creates a word recover, which is also a verb. And lastly, we have the in or in, derivational morpheme in, attach it with the word definite, which is an adjective, and it creates the word indefinite, which is also an adjective. And now I would like to show you an illustration to show the family tree of the morphemes. Okay, we have here the morphemes. We have the two types of morphemes, which is a free morphemes and bound morphemes. And of course, we have the types of free morphemes, which are the lexical or grammatical and the functional morphemes. And we have the two types also of bound morphemes, which are the inflectional and derivational morphemes. With verbs and nouns, written expression consists of sentences with a subject and a predicate. These nouns and verbs require inflectional suffixes to generate the past tense, show noun plurals, and have third-person actions in the present in order to communicate properly. Reading comprehension is aided by students' ability to understand the meaning of derived and inflected words thanks to their knowledge of morphology. The students learn about the semantic relationships between words and the regular spellings in words families through the teaching of morphemes. When pupils are shown the repeated patterns that are typical within groupings of words sharing the same affix and root, English spelling will appear far less random. Understanding word history and word structure may be a stimulating experience that encourages an awareness and academic study. Spelling, understanding, and vocabulary can all be improved by employing morphemic analysis in vocabulary instruction. Again, good day. From the introduction of this video, I told you that I will be presenting you a morphological tree and how to divide a word into its grammatical units, or on what parts of speech they belong, or on what affixes they belong to. So what is now the use of morphological tree? Morphological trees are used to represent constituency of the language and the subgroupings of its pieces within a larger word or phrase. Let's have this word for example. Okay, we have the word independently. Let's now divide this word into what parts of speech they belong to, what affixes they belong to. Okay, let's start from the root word or the base word of this word, which is depend. And the word depend is a verb. And we have here an affix. We have here another affix. This is a suffix. And we have here our prefix, which is another affix. If we connect these two morphemes, these lexical morphemes and this derivational morpheme, it will create a word. And it will become an adjective. And if we connect this affix, this prefix, into these morphemes dependent or dependent, it will create another part of speech, which is another adjective. And if we connect this independent as an adjective into an affix, ly, it will create another part of speech, which is an adverb. So, independently is an adverb. So this is your morphological tree. There are 6 ways to form new words. Compound words are combination of words. Acronyms are derived from the initial of words. Back formations are created from removing what it is mistakenly considered to be an affix. Abbreviations or clippings are shortening longer words. Eponyms are created from proper nouns or names. And blending is combining parts of words into one. Let's have here some examples. We have the compound words, doghouse, acronym such as NBA or the National Basketball Association, or scuba, or what we call as self-contained underwater breathing apparatus, and of course abbreviation phone from telephone. Okay, let's have first eponyms. Number 1, we have an example, America. The word America is named after an Italian map maker, Amerigo Vespucci. Second is Caesar salad. Rest assured, Caesar Cardini created a salad that now bears his name. Number 3, boycott. The word is named from an Irish land agent, Captain Charles C. Boycott. Number 4 is Fahrenheit. Gabriel Daniel Fahrenheit is the physicist for whom this temperature measurement is named. Number 5, zipper. The word zipper started as a branded name. B.F. Goodrich put his fastener on a pair of boots they sold and called it a zipper. The name stuck, and now the word is used to universally describe this type of fastener. Next word formation we have is blending. Following is a list of 15 popular blended words. Number 1, breakfast plus lunch equals brunch. Biography plus picture, we have the word biopic. Gleam plus shimmer, we have the word glimmer. Camera plus recorder, camcorder. Motor added with the word hotel, we have the word motel. Situation plus comedy, we have the word sitcom. Number 7, we have the word clap added with the word crash, we have the word clash. Number 8, we have the word smack plus mash equals smash. Next, we have the word work plus alcoholic, we have the word workaholic. Next, we have the word motor plus pedal. We made the word mopped. Global plus English, we have the word globish. Fact plus fiction, we have the word faction. Next, we have documentary plus drama, docudrama. And lastly, we have the word sports plus broadcast equals sportscast. And the next word formation we have is an abbreviation. So here are some examples. We have the abbreviated word abs, which is so-called as abdominal. We have this word admin, which is called as administrator or administration. We have this word ads, which is an advertisement. We have this word plane, which is an aeroplane. We have also this word apps or app, which is called as an application. The Aussie or Aussies, which are Australian. And we have the last word formation. The word formation is called an acronym. For example, the Department of Education, it is called as DepEd. The Department of Environment and Natural Resources, which is called as DNR. The Bureau of Fire Protection, which is called as the BFP. And the Armed Forces of the Philippines, which is called as AFP. So those are the word formations that we have. And now let's try this sentence. The young boy played with his friends. Analyze different types of morphemes from this sentence. You may answer functional, lexical, inflectional, and derivational morphemes. The morphemes are the, young, boy, play, ed, with, his, friend, and the suffix s. Okay, let's check your answers if you're correct. Again, the sentence is, the young boy played with his friends. We have the first morpheme, the. Okay, this is functional. Young, lexical, boy, a lexical morpheme, play, a lexical morpheme too. The suffix ed is an inflectional morpheme. With is a functional morpheme. His is also a functional morpheme. Friend is a lexical morpheme. And the suffix s is an inflectional morpheme. Again, my name is Felix Morillo, your discussant for today. Thank you for listening to my discussion. Good day.